morning, everyone. This is Jennifer with DP Addiction Adventures. Last night I did this same video. I spent about 30 minutes with you guys, and then I went to post and realized the whole video was blurry. My daughter had helped me hit the button, and I guess she hit something, and my setup doesn't allow me to see what you guys are seeing, so I just have to trust as I'm talking to my camera video that everything is good. So I am starting over, and I just am too tired on a Saturday morning to worry about my desk and what it looks like. And so today I wanted to do a little update and a mini drill with me. I wanted to try these YouTube tag ideas. Again, this video is all about my journey and trying something new, and so I thought I'd try it. And one of the wonderful YouTube channels that I follow does this YouTube tag. It's called the Storytime YouTube tag, and I just really enjoyed her drill with me, and I thought, you know, I would go ahead and try it myself. So here is an update first. Let's get down to business on the Mad Hatter that I'm working on. And so this I am in love with. It's from Who Can. It's an 80 by 60. It has 50 colors. And the only issue I have is the 939s are struggling. I think they are microscopically bigger than they should be. When I put it in the square, I can't see even with a magnifying glass. But when I put them all together, they continue to pop out. And yes, I do know I need to try the rolling pen, but there's just this area is really struggling, and that's where I tried to use a multi-placer. You probably saw in a different video. Now I'm doing checkerboard. It is helping out a lot better, but I'm still getting maybe instead of 20% poppage, I'm getting maybe 5 to 10%. So I don't want to mess with culling them, trying to get new. But I have heard this issue with Who Can. I'm wondering if they just had someone new on the machine, if they got a bad shipment, something, because this is not normal for Who Can. So I still suggest definitely ordering from them. I have 13 coming that I ordered during their custom sale, and so I will live with it. The canvas is beautiful. All the other drills are amazing. No oils, not really any stick together. There are, excuse me, I haven't made my coffee yet this morning. Holler out to caffeine, right? So, but this is my update on what it looks like. It's supposed to say and will say, all the best people are crazy. I love how the font is coming out, how you can see the letters very clear. One thing I am learning is I keep hearing on the YouTube channels this confetti, and I'm thinking that means color changes over and over again. And that's what's happening over here to get the amazing detail. And it's taking me forever because there might be 15 to 20 drills in one color, and I'm searching with my eyes. I moved to a different color, and then I realized I missed 5 or 6 because the numbers pop out easier once you get more drills down, because the brain's able to understand what you're looking for. And when you have 50, just it feels like thrown on the page symbols. Who Can also has more complex symbols. They're easy to read, but instead of A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, they're, arrow to the left, or half moon, or abstract triangle. If you haven't had a Who Can, that's kind of what's going on. They do have a couple letters thrown in. Like I have an E, I have a D, an O, a W, things like that. But most of their, I have because of so many colors, I have a music note, and then I have a music note with a line through it. Now, granted, they do a great job. You would think that was complicated, like hard to tell the difference. But the backgrounds are completely different colors, and it's very clear to see the two differences. So even though they're similar. So yeah, I also am working differently, I don't know, than some of the others I have seen where I'm doing all the strips this way because my table isn't big enough for me to do a strip down like this. So my setup helps me do it better this way. So yeah, that's my update, and now I'm going to transition into, possibly a drill with me. It's not going to be very long, but compared to other drill with me's that our amazing community does, but I'm going to try it out. So the video I have before this is of my daughter. She's not addicted to diamond painting, but she really likes diamond painting, and she's like, Mom, I really want to do a video. And she's 10, and I was not going to let her have her own YouTube channel. So thank you so much for watching the video. She keeps seeing the views go up, and she's excited. But thank you just for being gentle and appreciating that I'm being a mom, but I'm also trying to be careful with social media and getting her name out there. So I do appreciate the love that you have shown her. So she may appear from time to time. I'll always let you know it's a special guest. So if you're not into kids and what they're doing, I completely understand. But you'll be able to tell. So yeah, this Storytime YouTube tag was really interesting. I'm gonna go straight through it. I guess I practiced last night because I got through 9 questions in 30-ish minutes. But yeah, so I will hop right to it. So question number 1 is talk about a time you lied to your parents. And at first, when I was videotaping this last night, I made the statement that I just don't lie. Like, I can't lie. And this is true. The statement is true. I forget what I've said. I turn beet red. I can't remember a lie fast enough. If I'm lying on the spot, I don't come up with good lies. So I just don't lie. What's the point? I just tell the truth, and then I don't have to remember, and I'd rather just get it over with. But as I was going through the list, I realized that the couple of the questions, I did kind of lie in an abstract way. A lie is a lie, just like true and false statements. If anything is false, it's automatically false. There is no real partial truth. So yeah, I just want to preface that I am making the statement that I really don't lie, but as I'm answering these questions, you may be scratching your head going, well, that was a lie and that was a lie. So I'm just letting you know. And I think this story time, as I was going through it, at first they seemed, oh, these are really cool, but then I realized, some of these this is the truth about myself, like the down and dirty parts. So yeah, anyway, a time I lied to my parents. I was 19. I was 18, turning 19. I had just completed my freshman year in college. I had a boyfriend. He was actually no good. It was more of a pity time that I was dating him. And every time I tried to break up with him, something bad was happening in his life. Like his mom had lost her job. His dad was dying of liver cancer. His sister was 14 and pregnant, and they didn't know who the father was because she'd been sleeping with 3 adult men. So like every time I went, like, this is the night I'm going to break up with him. This is the night I'm going to break up with him. This is what would happen. And so anyway, I was doing a long distance relationship over the summer because I had come home from school. I was working at a local retail store full time and had my own car, a beater car, of course. And my parents would never let me go to Michigan, which is where I was at school, 6 hours away, to see a boy that they had never met. And that's just how my parents are. And I was trying to respect them. But I also wanted to go visit him. And so I came up with this plan that a coworker and I, quote unquote, would go to Cedar Point together, which Cedar Point's about 3.5 hours away from where I lived with my parents. And right after work, I'd go to Cedar Point. We'd stay the weekend, and then I would come back. And my parents knew this coworker, and so they didn't question it. They're like, sure. They knew I had always wanted to go to Cedar Point. And so yeah, I left work. This is why I don't lie. What I didn't think about is it's 3.5 hours to Cedar Point. I didn't have a cell phone at the time. I mean, cell phones were just coming out. I couldn't afford it. It was back when you paid per minute. So it was like $60 a month for 60 minutes. It was ridiculous as a college student. And so I didn't have a cell phone. And Michigan is 6 hours away. So I had a calling card, but it only had 5 minutes on it. And like, okay, this is great. 5 minutes is long enough that I can just call them and let them know I made it. But I didn't put 2 and 2 together that 6 hours was a lot different than 3.5. So when I got to Michigan, I asked to borrow my boyfriend's phone. And their phone, you could only outbound call for some reason because they were all super cheap. They had no money. It was kind of like a frat house type of thing. And so I could only use my calling card, and I'm trying to call out. I get my parents. My mom is livid. She's like, it's been 6.5 hours. Where have you been? I tried to keep up the charade of what was happening, but I couldn't. The lie had fallen apart. And I only had 5 minutes, and they were yelling at me. They didn't understand I only had 5 minutes. They couldn't call me because the boyfriend's phone, you could only do calling card, like outbound, because they didn't have phone service. And I didn't realize this until I got there. And so they finally were like, okay, you get your butt home, but it's, at this point it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and they're like, but we don't want you driving again this late at night because you're exhausted. You've been up since 6 o'clock in the morning. We don't want you falling asleep on the side of the road and getting in a car crash, so we will meet you at this point. And I'm like, no, seriously, let me just drive home. Let me crawl into bed, lick my wounds. But I mean, they were my parents and I respected them. And so I basically drove 6.5 hours to get in trouble, see my boyfriend for literally 30 seconds, and then get back in the car. Wasted all that gas money. I was already broke because I was paying for my own school. And drove to the halfway mark. They didn't say anything. They were giving me the silent treatment. We ended up sleeping. The hotel at the halfway mark was booked full. So we went down the road to a rest area and slept in our cars for 3-4 hours until about 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock or something like that. And then we drove home. And then all of us, went our separate ways. I went to bed. And then when I woke up, we had a conversation. And I don't remember much about the conversation. Most of it was, I'm 18, I'm 19. If I told the truth, would you have trusted me? Would you have let me go? And they're like, no. I'm like, see, that's why I lied. I said, I've always told the truth. I have never given you any doubt, to a fault, actually. There's another funny story I'll have to tell later, about a nightclub where I told them exactly where I was going and everything, and they still didn't trust me. And so, I was like, what have I done to not make you trust me? And that's why I felt like I needed to lie. And so we had a good conversation about it. And so, yeah, that was, I'm sure I've done little tiny lies, like, who ate the frosting off the cake when I was like 5 or 6 or something like that. But I just can't lie. And this is what happens. I can't make up the lie fast enough. Even when I think about the lie, I don't know how to do it well. So I just don't lie. So yeah, that's number 1. So number 2, tell a time that you stole something. So yeah, I'm a goody two-shoe. I really, I don't steal. I mean, most people don't steal, but the only time I could think of that I stole something was I was maybe 4 or 5 years old, and we were at a bookstore in the mall. I remember it was the 2nd floor, and my mom was paying for her book, and there were all these like little things at the cash register. And I know why they do it, so that kids ask their parents while they're waiting in line, can I have this? Can I have that? It's like a marketing ploy. I get it. But I didn't know this. And so there were these little baskets of eraser tops for your pencils, or fun shaped erasers, or little, fabric bracelets. And back then they didn't have, excuse me, this is real on a Saturday morning, right? They had like little fabric bracelets or bouncy balls, these kind of things. And they didn't have sticky tattoos back then. They just had stickers. And so while my mom was paying for this book, I remember it was like cold out. So I had this big winter jacket on or coat on, and I just stuffed my pockets full of this stuff. As full as a 4-year-old can stuff it. And my mom didn't know, and nobody else noticed that I knew of. And so I thought it was free in my head, because it's just there. And at my eye level, my dog is having a running attack right now. So, she likes to, we're in my family room, she likes to race around from couch to couch, and that's what she's doing right now, because she's not allowed on the furniture upstairs in the living room. So anyway, we get in the car, and we're chit-chatting, I'm sure. I don't remember all of this. My mom just likes to tell the story. And I go, Mom, look at this. Look what I got. And, just not even thinking, because I didn't think I stole it. I thought it was free. And she's like, oh my gosh, Jennifer, what did you do? And I'm like, what? So she told me it wasn't free, we needed to pay for it, and then I had stolen. And I just broke down, because I never wanted to steal. And I was like, I didn't steal, I didn't mean to. And so she made me go back to the store. I remember taking the escalator up to the 2nd floor, and I had to show what I took, and I told the counter person, I'm really sorry. And yeah, so that was something I stole, and I didn't even know I stole it. So yeah. Number 3, a confrontation you had with a teacher. So this is, bearing my soul, I guess. So I really do have good relationships with most people I meet. But this was my sophomore year in high school. We had to take 2 years of a language in order to graduate. And I do not do well with language. I barely do well with English. And that's, our first language. And so this was my second year of French. And my partner, because the person we sat across from in our desk, that was our partner. That was the person we would practice with when we had to, read stories or go back and forth and have conversations. And so I had this hugest crush on him. Like, I liked him a lot. And we were also really good friends. We had been good friends for years. And so anyway, he was just the kindest, sweetest man I knew. He was a little geeky, so I was like, hey, I don't have much competition with people liking this guy, but his heart was just so good, and I really enjoyed hanging out with him. So anyway, I really sucked at French, and I was always embarrassed because he was really good at it. And so when we would switch papers during vocabulary time, I would get, 65s and 70% on these vocabulary tests, and he'd be getting hundreds. And no matter how much I tried, I just can't do languages. And so I figured out a way to cheat. And I would write on, I'm not going to tell you how I did it, but I figured out a way. And I got really, I cheated a couple times. And so I always made sure that I was getting like 80%, so it wasn't like 100%. Again, I was trying to think through and be smart about it. And one day, a couple weeks into these vocabulary tests, we had to clean off our desk, and I would hold my cheat tool under my desk as she was going through and passing out the vocabulary. And then when it was on my desk, I would, pull it out from under and slip it under the paper. And so evidently I chose the wrong size paper that day, and she could see when she was walking around the class that there was more than one paper on my desk. And she asked me in front of the class, and she was trying to be quiet about it, but when the class is dead silent, you can hear everything. Okay, and I'm hoping we're back. My daughter, if you heard that noise in the background, I'm not sure, slipped on a stair upstairs, so I needed to go check on her. Everything is fine. Then I restarted it, and everyone decided to race down the stairs. And so, yeah. So you didn't see that part, but it was, lost my train of thought, so I thought I'd share. So anyway, I'm not sure where I was with the story, and I'm not super savvy with YouTube to cut and paste things, so I'm sorry if it's the same thing. So yeah, my teacher caught me. She was trying to be quiet about it. She told me to meet her after class or after school. So I had to wait the whole day because French was, I think it was third or fourth period, and we had 7 or 8 periods in my school. So I came in after, and like as soon as I closed the door to talk to her, I just sobbed. Like, I was literally uncontrollably sobbing. I couldn't believe that, I just woke up and I was like, I'm so sorry. This is what I did. And she's like, well, as you know, Jennifer, you're going to get a 0 on it. And we just had a good conversation. I just talked about my struggle with French, and I made sure that I always had my desk cleared off from then on. I always over committed to showing her that I wasn't cheating. And I'm a huge advocate for trust. And when I lose someone's trust, that's it. Like, I start to lose disrespect for you, or start to lose respect for you. And so I just, didn't want her to lose respect for me. And I wanted to gain that trust back because trust is so important to me. So yeah, I guess it wasn't a super confrontation, but that was one time that I wasn't in good rapport, I guess, with the teacher. So number 4, and then we'll end with this, just because my house is starting to wake up and I don't have a room off to the side. But number 4, the best gift ever. When I was thinking about this, I've had a lot of really generous people in my life, and I always try myself to think about what people would want, what they appreciate, what would they find joy out of when I give a gift. And so when I'm thinking of the best gift ever, I was thinking of how has someone done that for me? And the gift that I'm currently considering the best gift ever comes from my best friend. She and I met our sophomore year in college, and now we're just like sisters. And she has 6 kids. Her husband is a veteran from the Navy, and he works. She's a stay-at-home mom. She homeschools her children, and she's just an amazing woman. But with 6 kids, they struggle financially. And his job is a good job, but it's difficult with that many children. And so I know that they struggle. And when we meet, I always try to help. We have one daughter, and my husband and I both work. I mean, we have our own bills. We struggle sometimes, but we're okay. And so when we meet, I'm like, hey, you provide the place, I'll provide the pizza, kind of thing. And it's a win-win because I don't like cleaning to the point of, every nook and cranny. And with her children, they find every nook and cranny. So it's okay, you're fine. My daughter's exercising in the other room, and our dog is best friends with my daughter, and so she wonders why she's been left out. But because it's a treadmill, the dog likes to try to get up on it, and so she's kind of blocked out. Anyway, so back to my friend, we are currently in the process of adopting. We have to try to find a large amount of money that we don't have, and so we're fundraising. And about 6 months ago to a year ago, we meet for lunch and we're talking, and she gives me a gift because it was my birthday month. And she knows that I love different cups, like travel mugs, and I collect and I use them. And so she had gotten me this really cool travel mug for hot and cold liquids. And inside was a card, and I always cry at her cards. She's so thoughtful. So I'm like, I'll read the card later. Thank you so much. And she's like, no, I want you to read it now. And we're sitting at a McDonald's. It's like the halfway point between her house and mine. She lives about an hour away. And I opened the card, and inside was a check, like a significant amount of money. And she's like, my husband and I have talked, we've prayed about it, and we want to help you and your family. And this is like money they had saved up for like a year. And I just broke down. Like, that is the most sacrificial gift that anyone has ever given me. And it wasn't even the money that meant anything. It was just like, I know the sacrifice that they had. I mean, it wasn't just a couple $100. It was significant. And I lost it in a good way. And I didn't know what to say because part of me is like, I want to pay you back. And that's just the type of generous heart that she and her family have. And it just really, I don't know. I don't know even how to express it. So that's the best gift ever. So yeah, we only got through 4. We had a kid that fell down the stairs, a dog that went crazy, me yawning multiple times because I need to go get some coffee on this Saturday morning. But yeah, we survived. We lived through it, right? So my first, I did a mini drill with me earlier just to try it out. So I guess that's a lie that it's my first drill with me. But now that the house is waking up, now that I am going to be competing with noise and sound and what's for lunch and what are the plans for the rest of the Saturday, I'm going to let you guys go and enjoy your weekend. I hope you're watching this not on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. I hope you're out having fun, enjoying the weekend, and just rejuvenating. And then when you do watch it, it's, just time that you can relax and do this lovely craft, this lovely addiction that we all are together. I just thank you so much for who you are and the community that you are, and I can't wait to give you another update on my Mad Hatter. So until then, take care and be blessed.